What is good? What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Renee Box Young going live with y'all. Want to chop up a great, post-fight reaction on a great night of fights. Not necessarily last night, Saturday nights, but Friday nights. I want to break it down. You know what I'm saying, with the family. Box conversations with Reggie Owens, Kurt Sugar. You know what I mean, are in the building, and I just want to chop it up with them because as usual, their usual guests here, man, and I just love hearing from them. The great guys, and I'm sure you guys, those who are tuning in, those who will jump in, Sierra F, thank you so much. Salute, Sierra F, thank you so much for dropping that salute. I see that nice emoticons, emojis, whatever they call them, right? Good stuff, Sierra. Salute to you, Queen. Thanks so much. Much love to you. I hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody is, taking care of themselves. We are in October now, towards the end of October. We're about to end the year. And boxing has just been amazing. Boxing has been just wonderful. Friday night, I don't know if you guys watched it. I hope you guys all did. I think it was on DAZN. Also, Matchroom Boxing, right? It was just an amazing fight. So we're going to talk about today, man. We're going to chop up, Julio Cesar Martinez, if I'm not mistaken. He fought Calleros, if I remember correctly, and Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez versus also Gonzalez. His last name, Israel, if I remember correctly, Israel Gonzalez. And we're going to talk about Estrada El Gallo, right, who fought Cuadras on Friday night. I mean, it was just a beautiful fight. Sheldon Holmes, what is good, family? I think I never seen you be here before. Thank you so much for jumping on in here, man. We are family. You already know. I'm sure you know the OG, Kurt Sugar, Reggie Owens. Reggie Owens, how you doing today, bro?
Oh, doing great, man. Doing real good.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. Sugar, how you doing, Kurt, the historian?
Man, I'm doing great, man. How you doing? What's up, chat? I'm doing great, man, on this Sunday evening.
Heck yeah, it's a beautiful Sunday evening, man. I hope it's the same with everybody else. Sheldon Holmes, Sierra F, those who are jumping in the building. I see people jumping in already. Thank you guys so much, man. Doing great this Sunday evening. Perfect time to talk some boxing, man. I love it. Unwinding at the house. I was kind of busy today, back and forth doing some stuff, man, handling some business, man. Just got home, just, unwind. It's time to break down some boxing. I love it. I love it. Great day. Great time to chop up some boxing, man. So, we're gonna get right to it, man. Let's get right to it. And I appreciate y'all who are jumping up on in here. I see you guys already jumping. Bruce Goes is jumping in here. What's going on, Bruce Goes? Once again, Sheldon Holmes, Sierra F, and those who are not in the Cursor just jumped in. Also, Cursor, thank you guys so much, man. Go ahead and like, go ahead and share. Also subscribe to Box Conversations with Reggie Owens. He has his channel there. He also has a backup channel called Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens too. So y'all go jump in there and go ahead and subscribe and support over there. So let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. I repeat, I don't know if you guys saw the fights on Friday night, but as the thumbnail, as you guys can see in the thumbnail, you can see Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez and El Gallo Estrada. You can see him there, Juan Manuel Estrada. You can see him in the thumbnail of this video, of this live. So man, let's get to it. We're gonna start, man. First and foremost, okay, Kurt, what was your overall reaction, and then we'll get to the specific fights. But what was your overall reaction of Friday night fights, man?
Well, the Chocolatito fight, he did what he's supposed to. Took care of business. I knew he was going to win. It was mainly a stay busy fight, but the guy tried. The guy tried. He really did. I didn't know he was that good. Gonzalez can fight. Israel Gonzalez. I enjoyed that fight, but he wasn't strong enough. But he had good boxing ability, Israel Gonzalez, and it was a little tougher fight than I thought it would be for Chocolatito. He might have even underestimated the guy. I mean, he had his moments, but he just wasn't strong enough. So Chocolatito was able to stand his ground and hit him with combinations, and Gonzalez was hitting him as well, but his punches didn't have the effect like Chocolatito punches. So it was a good fight. It was a good test for Chocolatito. I still think he lost something. I think a circus set Rungvisai took something from him, but he was able to beat that guy. The first fight is Julio Cesar Martinez. He reminds me of Navarrete and Burchelt. They all fight the same, very aggressive, throws a lot of punches. If they will run you right out the ring if you don't have a competitive spirit and you have to match firepower with firepower. This guy is a bulldog. Martinez. So look out for him in the near future. He just went through his opponent like a wet paper bag. And I was like, this guy has the same mindset as Emmanuel Navarrete and Miguel Burchell, to throw tons of punches. And I like that. I like to see aggressive fighters fight like that. They give themselves a chance to win the fight. And the third fight, which was a war, to say the least, a classic already, Carlos Cuadras versus Estrada, El Gallo Estrada. What a war! What a fight! Give and take. This is the third fight I seen that you could consider a classic. It was Baranchik Zapata, then it was Salcedo and Barbosa. Now it's Estrada and Cuadras. Cuadras, they say used to party a lot, but man, what heart he showed. He was just in the ring with a superior fighter. And Estrada was making a lot of mistakes because he left himself open and he got knocked down. He was hurt too. But Cuadras couldn't close the show or take advantage of the opportunities. It was boxing is at its best when it's give and take, momentum switching fighters from one round to the next or even the same round. But this fight is worth seeing again. I'm gonna go look at it again sometime this week. I really enjoyed it, man. And Cuadras was trying, but he just didn't have enough. He got tired, and Estrada took him out of there. But what a great fight. I could say more, but I'm gonna let Reggie cook, man. I really enjoyed it. So if you missed Friday's card, you missed 3 good fights.
And that's exactly why I want to talk about this, because it seems like, a lot of people didn't really pay attention to this card and what they missed out on, man. Those who didn't, just like what Kurt Anderson said, man, that if anybody didn't see that card, man, y'all got to go back and watch it, man. You got to go back because it was just action packed. Didn't get bored at all with these fights, man. The only time I got bored was waiting in between the fights, when one fight was over, waiting for the next matchup to come, man, because it was just really awesome, really great fights, man. Explosive, just action packed. You not 1 second of being bored in those fights, man. So definitely, Reggie, what was your general? We'll get to specific moment, but what was your general take on all 3 fights that went down Friday night?
They were good fights, except that Juan Martinez, his fight, he was in there against someone that shouldn't have been in the ring. I didn't think too much of it. I don't think it did anything for him based on who he was in the ring against. I think the guy was a late replacement, older guy. He just really went in there and just beat on the guy. The guy didn't really offer any type of resistance. He really didn't put up too much of a fight and got him up out of there. Israel versus Chocolatito. The other thing, that ring was small as hell. The ring was very small, so it's barely enough room for fighters to move around, to be able to work off something. It was more of a ring for you to really have to go in there and engage. And that's the thing with the Israel fight versus Chocolatito is early in the fight, the first 2 rounds, I had him where he put up a good fight. He worked the jab a little bit. Not enough room to move around and create the space. He's doing a good job at one point, creating a space, backing up, working off the jab, keeping his distance, jab. Set off a few combinations, work to the body as well. But Chocolatito was also able to walk on the inside and start to target him down to the body and hit him with big punches. And I think that's ultimately what changed the fight, is he didn't have enough room to keep Chocolatito, to move around with to begin with and work off of that jab. His utilization of the jab ended up fading away. He having to kind of battle it out more on the inside, and Chocolatito was able to work him. But like Kurt was saying, Chocolatito's lost some stuff. He lost several steps, man, and the kid was hitting him, but I don't think the kid had enough power for Chocolatito to respect it. But Chocolatito cannot be taking those type of punches against the guy they got him set up for next. He cannot take those kind of punches against this guy. But Israel's just in here against a hard fight against a veteran who he played more into the veteran style of fighting, and that's allowing the veteran to move on the inside and just working from there. And really was the body punching just took a lot out of Israel. Even though Israel, he dug deep, he sucked it up, and he fought hard throughout the fight. He mustered enough energy to be able to go the full 12 rounds in that fight. But it was just him being beat up. He was a little bit gassed. Just couldn't get off enough. He had to go into a fight that he wasn't. I don't know if the kid is accustomed to it, but it wasn't the fight that he needed to fight. But like I said, that ring was very small, so it worked to the benefit of Chocolatito. That third fight, that was an epic fight right there. That was a classic right there. Great fight for the year. That was a real good fight for the year, and the little bit of the drama with the knockdown, the third round knockdown of Estrada. Man, Carlos is coming out there putting it on him, man. Very awkward style, very busy style, man. I wanted to see the punch set. These guys threw a ton of damn punches, man. A lot of punches in this fight, and I don't think there was a second where there was a little bit of. I don't think there was 3 seconds for these guys to be able to catch their breath. It was just constant action throughout that fight, and seeing that third round knockdown and seeing Estrada a little bit hurt, it was like something that fired up Carlos. Carlos is really in here trying to get Estrada up out of here, man. I didn't see that first matchup, but this rematch, man, they lived up to it, man. They really lived up to it. And I had the fight kind of going back and forth for the first half of the fight. But after that, I started seeing Estrada pull away with the fight. Once they entered into that 11th round, he really closed the show by dropping Estrada twice. That second knockdown, he really put the guy down there. Hurt him pretty bad with that second knockdown. The guy returned back to action. It just showed the heart of Carlos as well to get up from that knockdown and still want to go back out there and fight. And even when the ref stopped it after seeing him take a punch or two, seeing how Carlos was just upset that the fight was stopped and he really wanted to go back at it. So it just really shows the heart of these dudes. But that's all I got on that.
Yeah, definitely. Risa Basarte, thank you so much for joining. Good morning. You're on the other side of the world. Thanks so much for jumping up on in here, learn a little bit about boxing. Risa, thanks so much for jumping in. Yeah, so like I kind of want to focus on now. You guys gave your guys a general, input on the fights. Now I want to get to pick it apart a little bit more now concerning the fights that went down there. But I want to focus more on, Chocolatito versus Israel Gonzalez and obviously Estrada versus Cuadras. But first, I want to go back to Chocolatito. And so do you think, let's just jump off with Kurtis here. Kurt, do you think that Israel was considered an underdog? And if so, because you just said like a moment ago that you talked about that, right? Oh, Tumsak. Okay, thanks so much, Risa. Wow, I have no idea where that is, but I think it's around Asia, right? Or the Philippines or something like that around there. Risa, thanks so much for jumping in, okay? Yeah, so Israel Gonzalez, who fought against Chocolatito. So from what I understand, I think he was considered an underdog. So, but Kurt, like you were explaining earlier, that I mean, he was fighting back. He was using his jab boxing. I like his upper body movement, but like what Reggie was saying right now, I mean, Chocolatito using veteran moves, going on the inside and just pressuring him. But at the same time, Chocolatito was getting touched up. That kid was fighting back. Israel was definitely fighting back. So, Kurt, do you think that this is what I'm trying to get at? This is kind of what sticks out to me nowadays. Do you think that these veterans, these champions, long reigning champions, or what have you, that they shouldn't undermine these kinds of underdogs that they face nowadays, man?
Well, boxing, the way human beings are, especially boxing, anything in life, you're always going to underestimate somebody. It's a natural thing. You've seen it hundreds of years in the sport of boxing. You've seen it with Tyson and Buster Douglas. It's always going to be there because your energy is different when you fighting a prohibitive underdog. You might not train as hard. Now against Estrada, his next fight, that's what it looks like. There's a energy because you respect Estrada more than you respect Gonzalez, who was a good boxer but didn't have the power to keep Chocolatito honest. So fighters, especially fighters, it happens in football, it happens in basketball, soccer. You underestimate someone and they come up and they give you a hard time or even beat you. So that's basically human nature. So that that an upset happens in boxing because the prohibitive favorite, his energy is low. Uh, he didn't train as hard, like I said before, or he's just not worried. And then he goes into the fight with different things on his mind. He winds up losing. But Gonzalez didn't have the power. That was the key. If he had power, you got to put something on Chocolatito because he's going to keep coming and throw combinations. He depends on it, aggression, and shifting his feet, and being aggressive fighter who throws a lot of punches. And Gonzalez tried. He was trying to box, but he was boxing and retreating at the same time. He couldn't keep Chocolatito off him. But you will always see the upset in boxing because of that reason, because of low energy, and you're just not up for a certain fighter where you should be. It's hard to get up for every fighter, especially when you're a winning fighter, but it happens.
Yes, definitely. And it's just like what you guys said, like, talking about, Chocolatito, I mean, he lost something, definitely since the Rung Visai fight. I don't see him the same anymore. I don't see him, I mean, Chocolatito, like you guys said, he's a vet. He has experienced so many wars. And when I was seeing him fight, against this Israel guy, man, I was like, no, this is not the same Chocolatito, man. This is not the same one. I mean, sometimes fighters just aren't the same after fighting some certain opponents. You know what I'm saying? And we definitely see that in Chocolatito. I mean, I don't see him the same anymore. So Reggie, what do you think? Like, what exactly what do you think it is? Like, Chocolatito's not fighting the same as before. What is it that you see him that he's losing or deteriorating in when he fights, and especially when he fought on Friday night?
He was getting hit too much. He was getting hit way too much. I don't think the ability to move out the way of things is still there. A little bit of his mobility looks a little bit gone. The power, where can I rate the power? The power has to still be there, but his ability to move out the way of punches, keep himself clean, that stuff is gone, man. He was just getting hit way too much. A guy like Estrada's going to, in my opinion, not to underestimate Chocolatito, but I think Estrada will crush Chocolatito. And I think that knockout from the Ron Vasai fight has really taken something from him. Being in two wars with that dude and then ultimately being crushed by the guy. If this dude Israel had a little bit more power, he could have got Chocolatito up out of this fight. He could have definitely got Chocolatito up out of here. He was hitting Chocolatito with some very, very clean shots in this fight. That's all I got.
Yes, definitely, definitely. It's not the same Chocolatito from before. And I don't know, man. Like, so Kurt, what do you think about, like, like what Reggie said right now, Bart, about I agree, that Estrada, if he's gonna fight, if it's gonna be the next fight against Estrada, Estrada versus Chocolatito, I see Estrada, man, he is on another level. I think he personally would probably knock him out because Estrada, I mean, just look how he performed, and we're going to get to that in a moment in more detail, as far as how we did against Cuadras. I mean, he was just fast. He was with those combos, man, and he had power. I mean, Cuadras was no joke. So, considering considering an Estrada versus a Chocolatito, the way that we saw Chocolatito perform on Friday night, I don't see it too competitive. I think that's what I'm trying to get at here. And I agree with Reggie that I don't see it like, too competitive for Estrada. I mean, Estrada just, I don't know, man. Estrada, he did great. He did wonderful on Friday night, and it was against a really tough opponent. And look how he, persevered through that knockdown. And he was hurt, just like what Kurt said earlier. That, I mean, Estrada was hurt, and he persevered. Great game plan. Shouts out to his corner. Estrada also, I consider him a vet. You know what I mean? With his experience, he knew what to do. He didn't buckle under pressure, even though he went through a knockdown. He was hurt. He just kept going. He knew what to do. You know what I'm saying? I remember, as a matter of fact, they were screaming in Spanish, man, his corner, al cuerpo, al cuerpo, they were screaming to the body, and he was doing well, man. Estrada just, man, through the thick and thin, he got the victory, man. So how do you see that fight playing out, Lord willing, if it happens next year? Because they're about it. I think it's gonna happen, man. Most likely next year, Lord willing, early next year, they're gonna fight. Because after that fight, I remember they had a post-fight interview. It was on Spanish. I don't even think these guys talking English, right? they're just 100%, man, Latin guys, man, like Nicaragua, right? From Nicaragua, and Estrada from Mexico here in Sonora in the north. So they were talking in Spanish, and they were like, yeah, so are you guys going to fight next? And they were like, yep. Estrada was like, as long as they pay us, our promoters, but it's going to most likely go down, man, unless something happens. But so, Kurt, how do you see that fight playing out with Estrada versus Chocolatito?
Well, I think it's going to happen. They was negotiating even before Friday's triple header. It was 90% done then. So it's definitely going to happen. I would say probably March or April. Let me see, January. Yeah, somewhere around there. Well, like I said, Chocolatito lost something to me. Estrada was leaving himself open. He lucky he didn't get knocked out, but he was able to come back. So it's going to be an entertaining fight. It's going to be a very good fight. I just think that Estrada has a little bit more than Chocolatito, and Chocolatito is going to have his moments because he's going to be aggressive, and so that's what's going to make the fight. But I expect Estrada to knock out Chocolatito in between rounds 9 and 11. It's going to be a battle. It's not going to be easy, but in the later rounds, I believe El Gallo will take over and catch Chocolatito. But Chocolatito would have his moment. The first 7 rounds is going to be a war. So that might, next year be a fight of the year candidate early on, because they styles play into each other's hands. So as a boxer fan, you should be happy that fight is being made.
And that's what I think, that, more boxing community. I'm not saying that nobody does know, but should pay attention more to these lighter weight divisions, man. These guys give us a war. They give us, just amazing entertainment in the ring, and we got to put more light on it. That's why I want to talk about it and want to, dedicate this live session on the post-fight reaction of those fighters, man, because they definitely deserve it, man. And as far as pay, I think they deserve more pay also, you know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, it seems like the lower divisions, the lighter divisions, as far as weight is concerned, they don't get too much light, you know what I'm saying? And I think they deserve a lot more, you know what I'm saying? And so I personally think, because Chocolatito, his speed, it really reduced, and his speed just really reduced when he punches, man, his combos, I see him a lot slower. I just kind of have.
Oh yeah, you still there?
I think he fell off. Well, where they get until he comes back. Yeah, Chocolatito's speed. You could see it. He was a good fighter before. I don't think he's number 1 pound for pound, but he was a good fighter. But when he took those matches against Rungvisai, I truly believe it took a lot out of him. And he's able to beat second and third tier guys, but against Estrada. But Estrada defense, I was kind of surprised how he was lacking on defense, and he was getting caught. Even when Cuadras was missing, he was leaving himself wide open. And I was like, man, I said, you can't do that, even against Chocolatito, who's not at his best. But it's going to be a very interesting fight, man. It really is. I would say probably March or April, early April, that the fight
Check 1 2
take place. Yes, you're back now.
Oh yeah, man. Thank you so much for taking over. Yeah, so I think what I was getting at earlier, that Estrada, he's a lot faster. Chocolatito seems quite slower to me. And let me just jump to Reggie in this one. And Kurt, thanks so much for giving your input on that. Reggie, do you think that it's going to be a quite lopsided matchup, as far as Estrada versus Chocolatito in respect to the speed? Because I see Estrada quite faster, man. I think he's just going to really, take Chocolatito out and combos and speed. And because, like I said, man, I don't know. I'm not saying, of course not. I wasn't disappointed on Chocolatito's performance on Friday night, but I did, like you guys said, I mean, he lost something, man. And I think one of those things, one of those tools, one of those factors is speed. Do you think that's going to play a big role with Estrada against Chocolatito?
Yeah, I think it could. It can definitely play a part. But I think with Estrada and him, they'll battle it out for a while. But it's the more that battle continues, the more and more Chocolatito begins to be broken down by Estrada. I think Estrada does a good job of breaking opponents down. And also, if he can catch Chocolatito with one of them run beside type punches, he can probably put him out. But I think through the fight, it'll be a little bit of a battle. He'll let Chocolatito open himself up, expose him. The guy's pretty good at countering. He'll look for that. He'll look for the points in which he can catch Chocolatito, which I believe he will. Chocolatito looks to be slowed down a little bit. He's open. He's open for punches. Estrada catch him clean. And sometimes Estrada sits back and he invites about it. I remember he did that against Dwayne Beeman. He allowed Dwayne Beeman to come in because he knew where he's going to catch Dwayne Beeman. And he just started to put it on him. Same thing here in this Carlos fight. He allowed the fight to come to him. Not too much wasted movement with the guy. He's just looking for those openings. And he finds those openings, and he's going to definitely find them on Chocolatito. This guy right here is the guy just fought way faster than Chocolatito, way more energized, and Estrada's just able to catch this guy, just slowly start to break the guy down. That's what I think he'll look to do. He'll make it look bad. It'll be a battle because Chocolatito will have to put up something, and the more he battles, the more he gets broken down, and probably is going to get stopped. But, yeah, that's just the way I see it.
Yes, definitely. I do. I personally do think that there's going to be a stoppage. I think Estrada is gonna knock Chocolatito out, man. He's gonna knock him, take him down, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Do you think, Kurtis? Do you think after Lord willing, these two guys fight, right? Do you think Chocolatito should keep boxing, man?
Nah, it depends the way he loses. If he gets knocked out early or knocked out and there's a long punishing fight, he should retire because we can all see that he's not the same. But it would take a knockout or a bad performance for him to probably say, I'm retired. But if it's close or if he wins, he's going to keep fighting. Because obviously I thought he was going to retire already, but somebody probably was in his ear. He can get a couple of good paydays or whatever. It could be anything. But if he gets knocked out cold, he should retire. He really should. If he loses, he's going to keep in. If he loses by decision, because he's going to convince himself that he still got it. So it's hard to make fighters retire. Most of the time, boxing retires fighters instead of fighters retiring from boxing.
Wow, interesting. That's interesting how you said it. And I personally think, what I'm saying, I think he should retire, even though, if he doesn't get knocked out, if it goes 12 rounds, and he wins by decision or what have you, I still, or if he loses, by decision, right? Because I don't think he's going to win. I mean, but anything can happen in boxing. We know that, right? But I just don't see it. You know what I'm saying? And all around, I see El Gallo winning. All around, he's just quicker. I just don't see Chocolatito winning. But should the case be he loses just through 12 rounds, Chocolatito, man, he has taken so much punishment, man. He has taken so much punishment. A lot of fights, a lot of wars, and it's exactly Tone Brown. Thanks so much for jumping up on in here, man. I want to get to what Tone Brown says here in a moment, and just all the wars that Chocolatito's been through, man. I think he's taken enough, and but I mean, maybe he'll continue, but I just fighters got to know the right time when to retire. You know what I'm saying? They definitely got to know when the right time is. And we hear Tone Brown saying, I think the rematch between Estrada and Chocolatito would be fit. I don't think so, bro. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I would see it maybe 40-50, 50-40, right? Estrada, or maybe even more. But yeah, I just see all around. And it's true what you're saying, Tom Brown. You're saying those 115, 118 divisions don't duck anyone. They fight the best and put on fantastic fights. I mean, that's the thing. Why is it that we see that? Why is it that we see these lower divisions like fighting? It seems like more of the tougher competition than possibly the higher division?
Financial survival. They got to fight. There's no money down there. Yeah, it was just a quick answer. That was it for me.
I think he might have fallen off again. Well, to answer that question, the lighter weight divisions, like Reggie said, they have to fight each other. It's not like a heavyweight or welterweight where they can play games. The more money, the more complicated things get in that meeting room. With the lighter weight divisions, they can't afford to be like that. So they're not going to get the money that these high-profile divisions will get. They will get less money, but it will be good money for them in the divisions. I don't know why the lighter divisions the public never took to the lighter weight divisions. I thought when Sanchez fought Gomez that all was going to change. Or when Prince Nassim Hamed was fighting, I thought that was going to change because he had an Adidas deal. But for some reason, it never took to people. People like the welterweights and the lightweights and the heavyweights and the middleweights. For some reason, they like bigger fighters. So but the smaller fighters, they have to fight. Like Reggie said, financial survival. And it's that's why I've seen so many great fights over the years in the lighter weight divisions. Man, you had Carbajal and Humberto Gonzalez, and you had Pintor, Sanchez, and Gomez. You had Ruben Olivares. You had a lot of these guys fighting each other like it was nothing. Ricardo Lopez versus Rosendo Alvarez, and Nene Sanchez versus Ricardo Finito Lopez, man. So the lighter weight divisions, they can't afford to pass up a fight that the public will deem great or good. So they have to fight each other.
Right. Check 1 2. You hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I just got on my other phone. It's all good. All right. So yeah, I mean, and that's a sad thing. I personally think it's like, like I said earlier, I think these, lighter divisions definitely deserve more of the attention, man. They deserve more of the, and it's sad to see it like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why, like you were saying, Kurtis, earlier, that I'm not sure. I don't know why it seems like the higher divisions are the ones, maybe because there's more knockouts, maybe because, I don't understand, you know what I'm saying? That's why I think these guys, they deserve a lot more attention. They deserve a lot more light. You know what I'm saying? Brusco says here, Zarate was known for the KOs. Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, they deserve a lot more clout. They deserve a lot more attention in the limelight, definitely. And so now we'll get back to let's go back and let's go jump up to the Estrada fight versus Cuadras, man. I mean, that fight, man, when Reggie, what did you think when Estrada got knocked down? Did you think that Cuadras was going to win round? Because the way that Cuadras was fighting the first couple rounds, I mean, I thought it was going to be a blowout. I kind of thought Cuadras was going to take him out, and it was just going to be a TKO, or just keep knocking him down with that amazing speed he has, those quick combos. I was blown away by Cuadras' performance, man. I was like, my gosh, Estrada, what are you going to do, bro? And so, what did you think when Estrada went down, man?
I didn't really think too much of anything. I just wanted to see what Cuadras was going to do once he had him down. And after dropping him, all it did was ignite the hell out of Estrada. It really ignited him. I don't think he went about it because he wasn't hurt that bad. He did recover pretty fast. And Cuadras didn't jump out on him fast enough once he got up from the count. But it just reignited the heck out of Estrada. And it wasn't like what's-her-name gave many variables of the style he fought. He just fought in that one type of style. He bounced around a lot, came on the inside, threw quick combinations. It was always in like the same rhythm and pattern that he was fighting in. So Estrada was able to change it up or just time it perfectly. But Estrada started coming at him as well, start putting it on Cuadras. So I didn't think nothing of the knockdown. I just see him get dropped. That's what I'm starting to see a lot. A lot of guys getting dropped and getting right back up, and some guys going right back at it. So I don't think nothing of the, when they get knocked down like that. When it was like a real quick flash knockdown, he got caught by a punch he didn't see, got up, he looked okay. And I just want to see how does sometimes fighters don't respond well when they watch an opponent they drop get right back up. And sometimes, especially if you didn't drop them, you go right back up on the opponent, he still survives. I think that takes a lot out of the fighter who didn't drop the guy. So you're like, damn, I threw all my best shots at this guy. He's still here and got up, and now he's fighting even harder. So that can be demoralizing a little bit. So from that knockdown, I didn't think anything of it because he didn't look too hurt from it. He was hurt slightly, but he recovered from it. But that's what was my thoughts on that.
Right. You guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I personally thought when I saw Estrada go down, I got worried. I was like, oh no, Estrada, because Cuadras was just lightning punches, man. Looked fast. And I was impressed, man. I repeat. Obviously, I was impressed by Estrada, coming back and fighting back, and man, that was just a beautiful fight. What did you think, Kurtis, when Estrada went down? Did you think that Cuadras was possibly going to take him out?
No, I just had a feeling that Estrada was going to recover and the tide was going to turn. Estrada's a good fighter. It kind of shocked me that he did knock him down. Estrada left himself wide open when we got up. I looked at his body language and I was like, I don't think he's going anywhere. And he didn't. Cuadras didn't jump on him because he knew Estrada would be dangerous. It was a good shot. It was an uppercut, then a hook. But Estrada recovering, that's what good fighters do. They have resiliency. They get knocked down or hurt. They have a lot of resiliency and power, and they can recover in seconds. And that's what Estrada did. He it was a kind of fight that it was a war of attrition, and Estrada was the better man. And another point was that Cuadras in the second half of the fight, he started winding out. His wind started to go. He does that because he did. People don't know about Cuadras. Sometimes he didn't train hard. I believe he trained hard for this fight, but the punishment and him tiring out was just a little bit too much because when you're tired, you don't think as hard and as sharp. And he started leaving himself open, and Estrada was able to capitalize and then took him out. So certain fighters have this second, third gear. They catch their second win, and that's what Estrada had. It's the intangibles that will help a fighter to victory.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a, beautiful performance, beautiful way, how Estrada came back, man, and showed like what Kurt said, that resilience, man. I just so beautiful, such a beautiful, and like what Kurt said earlier, man, this definitely is a classic fight. This goes down as a classic, man, with Zepeda, right? With Barbosa fight also. I mean, definitely these fights go down as classics, man. And boxing is just great, man. We got to take advantage of all these fights, all these fights that are coming out, man. And so let's jump on to another topic, man. This is mainly what I want to talk about. And I got a couple things I want to mention, and I'm sure you guys saw it already. You guys, I mean, you guys definitely saw it. And I want to hear your input here on this, as far as the platform here, what I'm saying? And just to let you guys know, those who are jumping in, Soccer Training Club, thanks so much for jumping in. I went on kind of later today. On Sunday. I typically go on earlier, but because I was kind of busy this morning and, doing some things here and there. And we had a change of time and the daylight savings and stuff. So I kind of went later today, but, Lord willing, next time we do this, it'll be a little bit earlier, so people can jump in more. Okay. So what is your, Reggie? We'll start with you, Reggie. This whole thing of, Lomachenko, man, like him after this fight, you already know, now he's coming out with, he had a shoulder problem. I don't. It really, I see it as an excuse, man. And one of the reasons I mean, you guys already read the articles, I'm sure, or heard about it. It's just everywhere now, as far as, this whole shoulder injury. He had problems with his shoulder. That's why he didn't fight and perform as he usually does. And that's why he lost, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is when you really go back and check this whole situation out, Lomachenko had a problem with his shoulder. They're approximately 6 weeks before the fight went down. You know what I'm saying? 6 weeks before he even stepped on, U.S. soil in Ukraine, he already knew that he had an issue with his shoulder. And, in the Blood, Sweat, and Tears documentary, if I'm not mistaken, Lomachenko himself said that he was ready to go. He was like 100%. He felt the best he's ever felt in his whole career, what have you. Reggie, what's your general input on this whole thing of Lomachenko and his shoulder injury and him using that as, sounds like an excuse?
It's an excuse. I mean, I'm putting the videos out being like he proving that he has the injury to the shoulder, but it didn't look like anything during the fight. But this is just part of the way that athletes behave, especially in these type of competitive sports. They're at a high level, especially the athletes who achieved a lot of success and they're not accustomed to losing. The feeling of a defeat, man, is dejecting as heck for some of these dudes. And you see the poor sportsmanship in a lot of these guys. It was something he could just went and got surgery and left it at that. It wasn't the thing he losing his fight because of what his shoulder looked like. It was him not fighting early enough in the fight. But even coming out, and the other side of this thing, like even coming out with this excuse about the shoulder, is still like, so what? I mean, it's a little bit too late. You should have pulled out of the fight. That was one of the options. Other than that, you got to fight through it. I mean, fighters fight hurt all the time. Shit, we watched Khabib fight yesterday. Come to find out, he broke his foot. Then think they say 2 broke toes in the fight. And even in the post fight, he never spoke on it. I think Dana White was the one that came out with it. So sometimes you just put that stuff to the side. If you don't pull out of a fight, no one cares about the injury. No one cares about it. But he's proven it because I think he's looking to go into a rematch. He wants to fight again. But it's just a side of athletes. You get a lot of athletes who create excuses all the time anytime they suffer defeat. Even some of our favorite fighters create these same excuses. It's just the nature of these dudes. And a lot of them do it to kind of cope with that the side of depression that they may feel. They create some type of reasoning behind the reason, they create some internal reason for why the loss occurred rather than giving full credit to the guy that defeated them. And that way, because and especially it's a sport amongst men, you don't want to think another man is better than you. So you look for these type of excuses. Oh, no, I wasn't fully healed. He's not a better man than me. And even when you hear other especially in boxing, all these combat sports, a lot of these dudes just don't pay homage to one another because you deal with the ego of these guys. They don't want to think someone they're competing with is better than them. No one raises the hand of another person as being that person. Some people don't deal with those type of egos. That's only from the people who have egos. Some people are just honest and real. Hey, that's a better person. He beat me, got my number. That's just the way it is. Some people just have your number. But this one with Lomachenko, I think Lomachenko, in my opinion, if he fought Teofimo again, I think he'll beat Teofimo. But to create these kind of excuses, it'll make a person like Teofimo say F you. And that's what Teofimo is doing. So he's probably going to move by Lomachenko. Lomachenko should have kept it to himself, congratulated the young kid, and waited till he'd be able to get back in there with the kid. But it's all on Teofimo where they take it. It'll be a lot of money if Teofimo went for that rematch. There'll be a lot of money in that. But that's all I got on that.
Yes, and I personally do. Yeah, I see it as an excuse, and I think it's just making Lomachenko look worse. You know what I mean? I understand. Like you were saying earlier, and I also think that it's something just to ease his psychological aspect. For him to support that he lost. You know what I'm saying? I think he's just using this as a kind of a handicap to ease and to soothe in some way or another, this loss, and for him to take it, psychologically and emotionally, because it's a big loss for Lomachenko. I mean, this is a really big loss. But what do you think, Kurtis, about this whole general, alibi that Lomachenko's using?
Well, it's an excuse at the highest degree. The only thing was injured was his ego. Uh, Lomachenko is very arrogant. I mean, all fighters when they're that good, they have arrogant, the certain tendencies. They can't face up to the fact that, hey, I lost to the better man that night. You see him storm out the ring. He didn't give an interview. I was kind of surprised because I didn't see that coming. I gave credit for him having an old school soul, but he doesn't. If he did, he would have been like something like to the effect of during the interview. If he would have gave one, I didn't have it tonight. He was the better man tonight, and I want a rematch, and that's it. That's all you had to say. But his ego wouldn't allow him. His conscience was like, no, we had to drum up an excuse. You hurt your shoulder. But when I see him working out and the way he was throwing punches 8, 9, 10, 11 rounds, I didn't see no hint of a shoulder injury. A shoulder injury or arm injury, certain guys can't lift their arms. They have to punch. And I didn't see that. He was letting the punches go, after he had to sell out to beat Teofimo. So it's an excuse of the highest degree. He just can't stomach that he lost to his rival. And I would like to see a rematch. A rematch, that would be a very good fight. A lot of money, has a lot of interest. ESPN happy. It did over 3 million viewers. So the fight has become a natural.
Can you guys hear me? Everything good?
We'll get you loud and clear.
Right on, right on. Now, this is one thing I thought. It was amongst, the many thoughts I had in my mind. I did a final thoughts video live, the Friday right before the fight, before the fight. And I was talking about, about the press conference, right, that they had. Lomachenko, the whole world was talking about it, how confident he looked. He was so confident. I mean, and, that Teofimo looked kind of, antsy, nervous, possibly, whatever. Do you guys, Kurtis, I want to start with you. Do you think that Lomachenko was overlooking Teofimo? Because, like you just said a moment ago, maybe he was arrogant. Maybe he was thinking, "What's this kid gonna show me? I got this." Do you think he was overlooking Teo?
That's a possible case. I don't think he overlooked him as a whole, but I think he underestimated his boxing ability and determination, how bad he wanted. Teo really wanted this fight. He's been asking for it. He was talking a lot, and he had no choice but to perform up to his capabilities. I was shocked that the ineffective performance that Lomachenko gave the first 7 rounds because of Teo's athletic ability. It offset a lot of Lomachenko's offense, and I don't think he expect to be neutralized like he did. When Lomachenko stepped to the right, Teofimo stepped to the right. He pivoted, along with Lomachenko because he liked to slide to the right to get angles, but he couldn't do that, and he was shocked. He was shell shocked by what went down because the only way he can win is to sell out and go for broke, and that caught him off guard. That's what he had success going broke. He was hitting Teo from 8 to 11, but it wasn't enough. And I think the book is out. If you're an athletic type of fighter, you can give him a lot of problems. Mikey Garcia just said that Lomachenko beat up on slower, weaker fighters, lighter fighters. And with Teo, this performance, because the fight wasn't close to me, Teo athletic ability was the key. And Lomachenko didn't know what to do. So that shocked me. I mean, he was so ineffective, man. Gave away rounds. I said, when the last time I seen a superstar fighter gave away rounds was when De La Hoya gave away the last 3 or 4 rounds against Trinidad. And that was in 99. So Lomachenko was shell shocked. He still is. He probably sitting home watching the fight, but what else he gonna do different? Sell out? That's the only way he can win. So it was Lomachenko may have overlooked Teo's what he could do in the ring other than punch.
Yes, yes, and Shell Shock says it well. I mean, Lomachenko, and it did surprise me too how he just stormed out the ring, man. It's like, and even when and I don't remember which platform, I think Blue, but I'm not sure who, talked about how when Teofimo went, up to Lomachenko right after the fight, right after he was, announced winner, he went up to Lomachenko to hug him, show that good sportsmanship, and it looked like Lomachenko wasn't opening up, man. He was just like shell shocked. He stormed out the ring. And like you said, no post-fight interview, nothing. I mean, I was like, what? And I think that's what exactly described how he felt, shell-shocked. And like you said, I think to this day, he's just like, what the heck happened? And, that fight reminded me of, the first half of the fight reminded me of Wilder versus Ortiz. Obviously, Wilder was waiting for the KO punch. We know that. But as far as, banking in rounds. I mean, it was Ortiz banking up the rounds, and I was thinking the same about, Lomachenko. I was like, Lomachenko, why aren't you doing anything? Like, what's going on here? So, Reggie, going with you. So you think that a rematch? You think Lomachenko would win? Why is that exactly?
Yeah, I think he can bring it. Teofimo showed me some things that he's not used to, and for one, he didn't like being hit. And when Loma went to fight, he hit him quite a bit. Loma's sting, he can't stay on the outside. Loma got to tighten up some things as well. But I want to see what a fight looks like when they engage in a fight. Teofimo being hit to the face, he didn't react like he didn't react good at all. He reacted like someone who stepped in the gym the first time and got punched in the face. But he did fight back. He's a fighter. He's still got that fighter in him. But I think Loma will bring the fight to him. Loma staying on the outside causes him to get hit. Him leaving that little gap in there, that's the reason why he was being hit with them punches down to the body. He was being hit with the jab. Once he closed in distance, it changed to where Tia was able to hit him. The way where Tia was able to hit him was countering on him from the inside. But Lomachenko can catch and deflect that. Matter of fact, Loma blocked a lot of Teofimo punches. It's just as Loma going into that retreating stuff, moving around is where he was opening himself up to be hit. He was being hit big with some big body shots and stuff. So, and also feeling he was taking the punches of Teofimo, still turn up and fight. He has to press the action, and also going into a new camp for Teofimo is some things they can work on. And the biggest one's going to be cardio, because he's going to have to go in here and stay active. Ain't none of that trying to look fancy and doing all that stuff that made ESPN happy. He's going to have to train like a fighter really looking to go deep and see how deep he can take Teofimo and putting pressure on him. And ultimately, he got to just accept the fact, go into this fight. If you're knocked out, accept the knockout. But all that dancing around and blah, blah, it won't work. But at certain moments in the fight, it worked. He was touched on Timo very well for about 3 or 4 rounds, I believe it was. So he has to just change the tempo of a fight, because in this fight, even though Teofimo pulling away wide on scorecards, it wasn't wide like he was just whooping he's just whooping the crap out of Loma. That's not the case of what the scorecards would display. It was just Lomachenko not engaging, moving around until he decided to step on the gas way too dang late. And I think going into a new camp, it changes. Better training camp, everything is won in that gym. And I think this thing right here has ignited him. It's sometimes it's good for certain people to lose. And I think this is a good fight for for Lomachenko to lose. It's good for him to lose. Maybe he wasn't that excited. Too accustomed to winning. Now he needs to learn what defeat tastes like. Now this type of situation makes him more hungry. These younger guys are out here really looking to make their names off of a guy like him. And if he wants to compete and show these young kids how to separate the men from the boys, then he has to step it up going into this next camp. But he's going to have to avenge this loss. Unlike the loss of Salido, how he didn't go about doing it, this is one he's going to have to go about avenging, because in this loss he embarrassed himself. But that's the reason why I got that.
That's a good point. Very good points. And I don't know, man. Like, because the thing here, I think it's because because of Lomachenko's, I guess we can say his whole reaction to him losing and how he has been taking his loss and coming out with the shoulder and this and that, and Tio's like, screw you, and I don't. It's possible the rematch won't even happen. I don't even think Tio will give him a chance. Now, with Kurtis, I kind of want to ask you the same question. How do you think a rematch would go down? And do you think that Tio, him fighting Loma for the first time, do you think that it served Tio a good amount of experience to go back and really like beat him in a more impressive fashion? Or would it be the other way around, that Lomachenko will get a better chance and he'll do a different game plan and take and beat Tio?
I would love to see a rematch. I think a rematch is going to happen. It's too much money to be made in a rematch. It's going to be on ESPN pay-per-view. ESPN is very happy about what took place in the last fight because of the viewership. ESPN has a lot of money. They go to Bob and say, make the fight. Bob give Tio extra zeros in the paycheck, and Lomachenko will get paid handsomely as well. The rematch is very interesting because, like Reggie said, Tio didn't look comfortable getting hit. That would kind of surprise me. He was the look on his face, his body language. So in the second fight, Lomachenko is going to start sooner. That's where we're going to see a war because Lomachenko has to sell out. Tio knows it, and he may not see that uppercut that Tio's going to throw. He's seen it in this fight because he was blocking it, but he may not see it the next fight because he has to get close to Tio, and Tio can punch. So it can go both ways. Lomachenko can also knock out Tio, and Tio can outbox Lomachenko, where we thought it was the other way around, but that's boxing. Sometimes 2 + 2 don't equals 4. And I would not be surprised if Lomachenko will be the hunter and Tio will be the hunted, because Tio was a pure boxer in the amateurs. But now he's a puncher. But the trick is, with Lomachenko selling out, will he get caught with something coming in? Or will Tio be able to stand up to Lomachenko's pressure? So I think a rematch is due, because ask yourself, if Tio, who Tio's next opponent, excuse me, I was doing something. He's going to make the most money fighting Lomachenko rather than Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. You may hear fight Ryan and Devin and miss out, because that's a huge payday for Tio. And you can't dismiss business, which is money, of course, unless he take a chance to lose to Ryan Garcia or lose to Devin Haney, because they all can beat each other on any given night. You put all those lightweights in a pot, they can all beat each other. There's nobody's his head and shoulders above anybody. Tio is the hot fighter because of what he accomplished. But all those guys can they can cancel each other. So if I'm Tio, I'm willing to take a chance beating Haney, fighting Haney and losing, or Garcia, or should I take a chance of fighting Lomachenko for like $4 or $5 million?
Man, that's the way I see it is, you guys hear me? Everything good there?
Yes, we get you loud and clear.
Yeah, okay. Just want to keep checking my sounds and my connection. Cool. I kind of see it. It's not going to happen next, man. I know it's controversial. I know it's, but I don't, Lomachenko, his time, I think time's ticking on him, as far as with his career. I don't know if he's going to be fighting too much longer, you know what I'm saying? And if that's the case, Tio, I don't know if he's going to take an immediate rematch, you know what I'm saying? If he's going to, but I'm sure that's very true that the money, I mean, it's going to be really enticing. It's going to be really enticing. And I'm not sure though, man. I don't see it because Tio, it looks like he's moving on. He'll probably move up to 140, or he'll probably fight somebody else at 135 or whatever. But I just don't see it happening, man. So if it does happen, okay, Reggie, you did break it down somewhat already. And interesting thing here is that Kurtis said that Loma can knock out Teofimo. Why? Because I mean, just as when we go back, like you guys already know that when Loma was starting to step, put the to pedal on the metal there, step up the pace there, and when he was walking down, when he was stepping forward, moving forward to attack on Teofimo, it definitely took to a certain extent Teofimo out of his game plan because he was just touching him up, bam, 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 and I mean, had Loma continued doing that, he would have done something hard against Tio, man. He would have really, really, really probably knocked him down. And so, would you see that happening, Reggie? Possibly Lomachenko knocking out Teofimo if the rematch does happen. And how probable do you think a rematch will happen? Do you think it's you think it's too far that it's not going to happen, or do you think it's real probable? Do you think it's probable it will happen?
Yeah, I think Loma can knock him out. That was my prediction in the first fight. I believe Loma can stop him. Loma's an aggressive fighter when he doesn't have to move around and step and do the angles. He's an aggressive fighter, and he showed it in that part of the fight. And then to seeing how Teofimo reacts to a punch, he's not used to it. He doesn't like it. But the probability, I think the probability is high. There's money in that. ESPN to be happy to see it. Plus ESPN want to see. They probably want to see Lomachenko back in there, but it's and it'll benefit Teofimo because Teofimo can go in there and defeat this guy twice. That'll really put a rising to his star to where he is right now. He's already been in one night captured capture the shine of the division. I mean, he is the sought after guy in that 135 division just because of who he defeated. Going back in here, fans would be super attracted to this one because now fans would be looking to see if Teofimo can go in here and stop him in this fight and seeing what Lomachenko can come in here and do. And I think Lomachenko can stop him. But I think either way, I think Lomachenko's going to will defeat Teofimo going back into that fight again.
Wow. Interesting stuff. Look at the chat real quick. It says here, Soccer Training Cup saying, Triple M, money moves mountains. Yep. Just like what the family saying here in the panel. And fans will not stop until Tio gives a ring. Do you think, Kurtis, that the boxing community is going to really be clamoring for a rematch? Do you think they're going to be just keep saying, hey, rematch? Do you think so?
Yeah, because the fight is a natural rivalry now. When you have a fight that turns into a natural rivalry, pressure busts pipes. Because on one hand, you have people who's going to say it was a fluke, Lomachenko fans. And then Tio fans is going to be like, he's going to knock out Lomachenko if they fight again sooner. But the names, all the trash talking and the way the fight turned out, it has become a natural rivalry. And when you have a natural rivalry, the fight has to happen. It may not happen immediately, like you said, because of the timeline. Lomachenko's going to have to recuperate the so-called shoulder injury. Tio is not going to stay at 135 for that long, but he will sacrifice staying there for a rematch with Lomachenko because the money is going to be outstanding. Just think about it. Pay-per-view is a pay-per-view seller. It's a quintessential pay-per-view fight now. So that the fighters can make extra amount of money now. And the fighters are natural. They're natural rivalry. Their names is linked together now. So I would be shocked if they never fought again. Because even though Tio won the fight, we want to see it again. We want to see if Tio was fighting over his head. We want to see Lomachenko had an off night. It just wasn't his night. And the way your boxing community is, I want to see you do it again. So when you think of a natural rivalry throughout boxing history, they fought rematches. Some fought 3, 4, 5 times. Ali and Frazier and Leonard Hearns, Leonard Duran, Holyfield, Tyson. People are bloodthirsty, including myself. We seen it once; it was definitive, but we want to see it again, just one more time, Teofimo. That's what people say. They'd be like, just do it again. We want to see it again. And Tio will win too. Lomachenko will win too. Bob will win. ESPN will win. The fans will win because there's money now. That fight will stand on its own 2 feet because of the nature of the rivalry that they have with each other.
Man, I love it. I love it, man. I love it. And I hope we do see the rematch. I hope we do. In the first place, I don't want to get too much in the contracts and stuff. We're gonna get towards the end of the live now. But in the first place, why wasn't Reggie? Do you know why? And then after that, you can go ahead and comment on that, Kurtis. Why wasn't there a rematch clause in all this? I know it was talked about and stuff like that in other platforms, but why wasn't there a rematch clause?
Man, I could not guess. But like Bob said, he doesn't put them in his contracts. He doesn't put them in the contracts. I don't know if that takes away having to do all this extra negotiating stuff. But damn, was he over? No, he stepped in on the Wilder Fury thing. But damn, there was I don't know. But that's on the fighters as well. That's on the fighters. Maybe Loma was that confident he was just going to beat on the kid. He said he didn't do it for Pacquiao. But it's on the fighters. It's up to the fighters to make these fights as well. I couldn't give you an answer on that one, man. And maybe he don't want to do contract. What's that? What was that rematch clauses in the contracts? Because how much tying up does that do for a fighter to win something and kind of progress forward? But the rematches are needed in the sport. But you don't want to make sure fighters aren't overdoing it. But I think if both fighters can come to an agreement, see the benefit of it financially and also what it does historically for them, then they'll do it. But that's something Bob Arum said in his recent interview. I forgot who he did the recent interview. I don't know if it was on Fred's or where was it at. But he said I
think it was with Blue Blood.
On Blue Blood, yeah, he said he don't do the rematches. So if that's the case, then that's what it is. But these fighters, like everyone says, if a fighter want to fight, they can fight. And at the negotiation table with everybody whose name is out there, I think Teofimo was going to make more money fighting Loma again. Where the Devin Haney fight doesn't make him that much money as a Loma rematch. Ryan Garcia fight doesn't make him as much money as a Loma fight. Maybe Tank Davis is the only fight that can probably earn him that much money, but it depends on what Tank Davis does in his fight against Leo.
I think that answered the question pretty much. I mean, yeah, Bob, he doesn't want to. I mean, he doesn't. He did it. Yeah. I remember. I forgot about that. I forgot about till you brought that up. So yeah, I assume that's why. I mean, Bob didn't. He just said he doesn't do rematches, and that's it. I mean, I think that answered the question pretty good there. I mean, and obviously we don't know exactly 100% why there wasn't a rematch clause, right? Which is kind of weird because, like Kurtis said, I mean, this is a rivalry, and man, the community and the money is going to be there. I mean, yeah, I know it's really enticing for Teofimo, but we'll see what him and his team says, man. Before we close, we got here Bruce Go saying something interesting. I personally don't get too much into the undisputed stuff talk, but it's an interesting question. And then we'll go on to Kurtis first. Let's go on to Kurtis first. What Bruce Go says here. He says panel, because it's a question for the panel. So does Teo have to beat Devin and Tank for undisputed? What do you think about that, Kurt?
Man, I'm so confused. He's going to have to beat Devin to be undisputed because they watered down Devin's WBC title. I'm not even sure he has it. I'm confused. I'm stumped. I hate to get into the politics of boxing, man. It makes me not appreciate the sport of boxing. I can't tell you. I'm stumped, man. if just to make things clear, I would think that if he wants to be undisputed or considered undisputed, he really has to beat Devin Haney. And I'm not sure if he's champion or not. I'm like totally stumped. I'm totally stumped, man. So I just want to see them fight each other. Let it play itself out. You know, I think Teofimo right now is the lightweight. You know, because what he accomplished, I think he's a better than Haney and Garcia and right now and Lomachenko until proven otherwise. Because he was a 3-1 underdog and he pulled the upset. So it's Teal's time right now. I want to see what he does. How long he's gonna stay at the lightweight division because his frame, you know, he's not going to be there for that long. Maybe a couple more fights if that, and he's gone. So it's interesting to have that, and then you have the money aspect. You know, a lightweight that can make $4 or $5 million. You know, that's a rarity. So that's a very enticing. I just want to see how it plays out.
Definitely. And that's what makes the sport of boxing even more interesting with these days. You know what I'm saying? With these matchups that we're seeing. We're going to get to Reggie real quick with this. And then we're going to go to the last one here. So Reggie, what do you think about that? Does Tio have to beat Devin and Tank for undisputed?
I can care less about these belts, man. I think he needs to fight them just to have the top guys in that division on his name. Because I also I don't rock with none of that pound for pound crap either. Because I don't even know where the crap begins with to where these other networks creating these lists and this and that. When in this day and age, you don't have definitive answers on who's the best in the division. Like people are on there on pound for pound list, and they're not even really confirmed as the best in the division because they haven't fought the other known tops in the division. But for me, the belts don't mean nothing. But for him to fighting to see where he is legacy wise, because when you go to speak on legends, you don't talk about what belts they have. You talk about who they defeated and what they did during their reign within the sport. But that's my thoughts on it. Because of the sport not being structured properly, that's why I'm like the belts give no purpose. Like even with my favorite fighter, to speak on Lennox Lewis, I can't go back and tell you, oh, he won this belt and this and that, because to be honest, those belts never had any interest to me except watching the performance, being entertained by the performances. Even in the fights the other day, even some of these recent like classic fights, watching them, the belt is the last thing that ever came on my mind. And even the belt may never come to my mind. Like, so, I mean, no, I don't think to be undisputed, I can care less of it. But to fight these dudes who are known as his equals, he needs to fight them to show he's separated from them. But that's my thoughts on that.
I agree. And like what Kurtis said too, you know, to add on to that, you know, it makes a lot of people stumped. Like, you know, we just want to see them fight who we want to see them fight. You know what I'm saying? The top competition. And very true. I'm stumped too. And thanks to Mauricio Suleiman, right? Thanks to him, he made it all confusing even more. You know, this whole foolish franchise stuff. It's just foolish stuff. Here, Briscoe says Gil Clancy, when asked by his fighters after losing for a rematch, he said, "You just had 15 rounds. Good point to beat him, and now you want another fight with him." Good point. Any last words, man? Thank you guys so much for jumping in, man. Great show. I love it, man. Always love chopping it up with you guys. Where can they find you, Reggie? Any last words?
Oh, yeah. You guys can find me at Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, 1 and 2, here on YouTube. But that's all I got, man. Good conversation, man. Great being on the show with you guys. Salute to everyone.
Definitely, man. Love having you, man. Kurtis, any last words? Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Blue Blood Sports TV Monday through Friday, 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30. It varies. Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard Time, 4:30, and Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find me at Stormy B Man Boxing, the Three Wise Men of Boxing. Great show, you know, Renee. You know, I'll support you. Thanks, Reg, for jumping on, and salute to the chat. You know, thank you for spending your time with us.
Yes.
Yes,
Can you
indeed.
guys hear me? Everything good?
Yes.
All right, cool. Yeah, so guys, thank you guys so much. Everyone who jumped up in the building, Suck Training Club, Bruce goes. Everybody who jumped on in here, the girl from, thanks so much, Sierra F, Sheldon Holmes, Cursor. Thank you guys so much. Risa Basarte from the Philippines, where Pacquiao's at. Thanks so much for jumping up on in here. Thank you guys so much. Hey, Kurtis, can you just stay here for a moment, 1 minute? And Reggie also, just a minute. Okay, right after the live. Thank you guys so much. Like, subscribe if there are any new listeners. Y'all know what it is. Renee Box Young. Thank you guys so much. Great conversation today. Peace out, fam. One love. Stay safe.